Hi everyone, Meteorologist Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center here for your First Alert 19 at 6 weekend weather show, available wherever you stream, including on YouTube. And what we've got here going for you is a lot happening across the country, particularly in Florida. We're keeping a close eye on a tropical system that may bring in significant impacts for those folks. We'll talk about that as well as the Northern Lights chances tonight and that 14-day forecast exclusive Fox 19 First Alert 14-day forecast. All coming up in a couple of minutes, but I want to get to your forecast first. We look at tonight, tomorrow, and the 7-day within the first couple of minutes of our 19 at 6 weekend weather show. So want to do that way for folks who might be doing some outdoor activities, might be getting back to watching the game or whatever it is you're doing. Want to give you that forecast, at least you have it in mind, and then you can go back to what you need to do. Or if you want to sit back and watch with us, you're happy to do so. And of course, we are live on the Fox 19 and my Facebook page. We can have comments or questions. You can chime in there. So overnight tonight, we've got a temperature down to 58 degrees, clear skies here in the Tri-State. And then for your Sunday, we've got a high temperature up to 85. So a very warm day at task with a lot of sunshine. There's a cold front moving through, and it will bring a chance of rain, even a rumble of thunder for areas east of Cincinnati. But it will bring in some cooler weather as we head into early next week. Monday, a high of 67. Tuesday, 69 with morning lows into the low to mid 40s. We're back in the 70s for your Wednesday and Thursday, warming up into next weekend in the mid to even upper 70s going into next Saturday. And again, I want to remind you, we will give you that exclusive First Alert 14-day forecast that shows what's going to happen next weekend into the following week with that warm-up. And if there's other rain chances here in just a little bit. So want to begin with the latest tropical activity. This is Milton, and Milton looks to bring in some impacts for folks in Florida as we head into next week. Tonight at 10 o'clock, I will be breaking down more details on Milton in terms of winds, rain, storm surge, things of that nature. Admittedly, have not had a lot of time to develop all that because I've also had to focus on the 7-day forecast, coordinating with producers for stories for tonight, and of course looking at the Northern Lights forecast to ensure that that is up to date for tonight. So right now, this is Tropical Storm Milton. Has winds at 40 miles per hour. Pressure is not low yet. It's beginning to drop, but it is going to show signs of strengthening. In fact, quite a bit of strengthening as it moves into the very warm bathwater-like temperature that is in the Gulf of Mexico. So we head into next week, or this upcoming week. So Monday, Category 1 hurricane expected in the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center. By Tuesday at the lunch hour, expected to make Category 3 hurricane strength with winds at 115 miles per hour. And then by Wednesday around noon, still a Category 3 right along the Gulf Coast of Florida. So impacts for folks into central, well, pretty much anywhere along the peninsula of Florida could very much see some impacts from Milton. Wednesday around noon, around the lunch hour of Wednesday, could we see Milton make landfall? So that's something we're going to keep an eye on. And want to remind you, too, that this is what we call the cone of uncertainty. So the longer out you go, the wider the cone gets. And this line here does not represent where the center of the hurricane will be. This is kind of the average. So the center of the hurricane, once we get into Tuesday or Wednesday, could be all the way as far west as the edge of this cone, or as far east, or I guess in this case south, as far south as where this is. So where the direction of this goes could be as far north as close to Tallahassee, an area that really doesn't need to see another hurricane or tropical system after what Helene had done, or it can go as far south as close to Miami, or just north of Miami. So a lot can change in the forecast in terms of where it'll be most likely impacting along the Gulf Coast of Florida. But right now, this is the updated forecast. Tropical Storm Milton now officially from the National Hurricane Center. So Something we'll be monitoring, of course, giving you updates on. And no, this will not bring impacts to the Carolinas. I know there's been a lot of misinformation on social media. We try to combat that, but unfortunately, misinformation usually comes from a lot of loud mouths. So, kind of hard to retain that, to give you facts, real information. So, this again is Milton. The forecast does bring in Wednesday major hurricane status near the coast of Florida. So something we'll be monitoring and giving you updates on. I'll make a post on this too on social media following 19 at 6. Want to give you another update too on the Northern Lights. So I've been looking at observations. I've been looking at the official forecast from the Space Weather Prediction Center. Want to preface, I'm not an expert on space weather. It is a very challenging thing. It is something that there's a lot of uncertainty with space weather forecasting. In fact, a lot of things can change in a matter of 60 minutes to 90 minutes. So I do want to say that there are odds to see the Northern Lights, but there are indicators that it may not be as strong in terms of viewing. There is going to be that KP index near 7, mostly around 6 tonight. The viewing time would be any time between 8 p.m., so just after sunset, all the way until 2 a.m. So 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., look up north, especially in areas that have low light pollution, meaning that you're kind of in a rural area away from the city lights. Look to the north, and you might have the opportunity to see the Northern Lights. Now again, this is from the Space Weather Prediction Center. The forecast does make it right at 7.0, but a lot of the numbers tonight are generally around 6.6 or 6.5 or 6.4. But essentially, we have an opportunity again tonight to see the Northern Lights. I know the last couple of nights have not fared well, but again, that's just how forecasting space weather predicting can be. It's extremely challenging. In fact, far more challenging than that of weather. And so it's something we'll be keeping you updated on here on Fox 19. In fact, if I do see any significant change, I will also post that on social media at the conclusion of 19 at 6. And, of course, talk about it tonight at 10 o'clock. Which, by the way, a programming note, we are not going to be on Fox 19 tonight. Not on Fox 19. However, you can watch us at 10 o'clock on channel 19.3 as well as anywhere you stream. So if you watch us on Roku, if you watch us on Hulu or YouTube TV or what have you, we will be on there, on Fox 19. But it's only on digital platforms. You can't watch us. If you're going to watch us on the airwaves or on cable, 19.1 will not be us. It'll be, I believe, a football game. Because right now we've got a baseball game going on. So just want to remind you that our programming note, we do have that happening. So let's take a look at your First Alert Newport Levee camera. And we are looking at quiet conditions here this evening. The camera's probably going to go dark for a second just because the camera likes to load a little bit longer than the other cameras, but it brings us usually very beautiful views. And this one's going to look at the Paycor Stadium on the Newport Levee camera. And the sun not quite in view just yet, but I believe it'll be over here on the far left of the monitor before the end of this broadcast. So right now, temperature still very warm, 79 here this hour at CVG. And then looking at our Fox 19 tower camera, this is looking over towards TQL. Big match tonight with FC Cincinnati. Looking quite warm for that. And clear skies, light winds. Feeling pretty good for that. And then also looking at our Turfway Park camera. Behind that tree line there is CVG. And again, abundant sunshine, blue skies. Tomorrow, most of the day, we'll actually be looking at a lot of sunshine, but we will be dealing with a few clouds in the afternoon ahead of a front, and that front will pass through and bring us some cooler conditions as we head into early next week. And this is our view, a very beautiful view of our Mount Auburn camera looking towards Walnut Hills there in the distance. So we'll look at radar and satellite here real quick, and while that loads, take a pause real quick, look at our Facebook comments and questions on both the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page. Well, with it being a Saturday night, not many comments, no comments right now on the Fox 19 Facebook page. Look at my Facebook page real quick at Ethan Emery WX. No comments there either. So again, if you want to chat with us, please feel free to do so on either the Fox 19 Facebook page or the my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. So now we'll go back to what we're want to talk about is this area of low pressure up towards Winnipeg. And look at that, even a little bit of snow coming in towards the northwest of Winnipeg. That won't impact us here. Not going to happen. But I do want to show you that front that's associated with it. Try to draw it for you real quick. So right here is that cold front. And the low, if you haven't noticed, it's where it's spinning, right there. And we had a warm front earlier today lift through, and it's right about here. And how I can tell is you can see some of these clouds, so they're moving to the north and east, so kind of along that front. So that's why today we felt a little bit warmer out there. The high temperature was actually kind of similar to yesterday because a front moved through yesterday, last night, but that front was pretty weak. In fact, I think yesterday's high was 80 or 81, and today we also made it. It's about 81 degrees, 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. And our morning low was 9 degrees above normal. So again, pretty warm air mass here over us in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. And other locations of the tri-state were generally in the low to mid 50s. 52, the morning low unofficially over towards Harrison, 54 in Batavia, 57 in Lebanon, 55 in Batesville. And today, again, high temperatures. These are unofficial. In fact, it's incorrect with CVG, but you can see temperatures generally in the low 80s across the tri-state. And now we're still in the upper 70s and low 80s. So still a pretty warm evening on tap. And the dew points, the measure the moisture in the air, it's not really humid, but you might notice a little bit of sweating with that sunshine and that warmth overhead. And the winds are looking pretty light too, around 5 to maybe 10 miles per hour. Okay, so let's look at tonight and tomorrow's forecast before we kind of dive into the forecast models. And then we will continue on with the 7-day and beyond the 7-day forecast. So tonight, we got a low temperature down to 58 degrees, clear skies, quiet conditions here for us. And I'm not looking at any fog potential. It just is it's a little bit drier the last couple of days to limit some of that fog potential. So I don't foresee fog really developing tonight. Maybe a little bit of light, thin fog in a river valley, maybe, but not looking anything thick, nothing impactful for your Sunday. And Sunday, we got a high temperature up to 85 degrees, a lot of sunshine, looking nice and warm here for the end of the weekend. And yeah, if you're heading to the Bengals game, dress for summer. I know it's fall, but dress for summer because, of course, 85 definitely feels like late July, although not quite as humid, so it's a trade-off, I suppose. So I want to show you this forecast model, and then I'll show you the Bengals game day forecast, and then we'll go ahead and continue on with that extended forecast. So looking ahead here, you can see we go ahead and play this out. Again, tonight, clear skies, really no issues. We go into Sunday early afternoon. There's a cloud cover development. So the front is back here. The clouds develop ahead of the front. Anytime after 5 o'clock, I think anybody east of I-71 could see the chance of a very brief light shower, maybe a rumble of thunder. But as we've discussed the last couple of days, the atmosphere has gotten a little bit drier. I know we had rain last week. It helped relieve drought conditions for many in the tri-state, or at least lowered the threat of drought. However, the last few days, things have been drying out, warming up each day, In fact, temperatures are actually exceeding model data for those of you curious who do look at model data. And so with this, I think with how dry it has become, it's going to really limit this front. And not to mention that low pressure system I just showed you in Winnipeg, Canada, is moving towards the Great Lakes region. And the further away you are from the center of low pressure, even if you're on a front, the less impact the forcing has. So let's say the low pressure system was in Columbus. Well, then, yeah, the cold front with the low right there, it's going to be a lot stronger there. There's lower pressure. There's more available energy. But with the low as far north as it is, going into the Great Lakes region, we got a cold front, sure, but it's working against dry air. It's going to have to overcome that in order to even give us rain. And even with that, there's just not a lot. So we'll play this out a little bit more time. So this is 6 o'clock on Sunday. We go into 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Yeah, there's a few cells beginning to fire up. So the data I've seen, the best odds for any showers or storms in the tri-state will be Highland County, Brown County, Mason, Lewis, and Adams County, Robertson County, and over towards Bracken County. I would include you as well. So pretty much here, this cutoff point from Hillsborough, Georgetown, down towards Brooksville, Mount Olivet, Maysville, Ripley, West Union, Vanceburg. You folks in those areas I just mentioned might see a shower or a thunderstorm. I don't foresee anything strong or severe. Now, if you travel further east, if maybe you're heading towards Athens, Ohio University, maybe you're heading towards Huntington, West Virginia, even a Chillicothe could have a better odds of seeing something maybe a little bit stronger than us. But with that said, any stronger activity with this system looks to be further to the north and east towards the from Pittsburgh down to Charleston. You'll see here. So there are those storms firing up Sunday evening. So this is just east of Cleveland. So Youngstown, Erie, Pennsylvania, the western outskirts of Pittsburgh, towards Cambridge, eastern Columbus, towards the Newark area, down towards Athens. And notice how it really cuts off here. It's that dry air that's rebuilding back into the Ohio Valley, just because of the weather pattern we're beginning to go into. So this is Sunday, 7 o'clock. We play this out to late Sunday night into Monday early morning. Again, anything strong or severe looks to be pretty much in West Virginia, southeast Ohio, towards, say, Athens, Ironton, Cambridge, Wheeling, all the way over towards Pittsburgh. In fact, those areas have a marginal to slight risk of severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. We have nothing here in the tri-state, just the garden variety shower and storm chance that is going to be in those counties I mentioned. Highland, Brown, Adams, Mason, Robertson, Lewis, and Bracken County. Maybe a little bit of Clinton County, but even then, nothing severe, nothing strong. I don't foresee that. But what I think will be more impactful for your Sunday will be the winds. So this is one particular forecast model. Well, this is Sunday morning. Not too bad. If you're going tailgating, heading to the Bengals game, winds will begin to increase as the morning progresses, going into noon, 1 o'clock, and kickoff will be at 1 o'clock. Wind gusts on Sunday could get as high as 25 to 30 miles per hour. So keep that in mind if you're wanting to have the George Foreman out and while you're tailgating. Just keep in mind those flames. You want to make sure that's a little bit retained. We don't have any burn bans in terms of county-wide, but we do have seasonal burn bans in Ohio and Kentucky. So just be mindful of what you're doing. Now, I think there are exceptions with that burn ban. I think grilling is one of those, but regardless, I'm just telling you, be responsible with these winds. So this is Sunday at 3 o'clock, staying breezy Sunday evening, and then Sunday night, that front passes, we could see a gust close to 30 miles per hour, even after the rain chance is gone. It's because it's cooler air ushering into the tri-state. So let's look at the Bengals forecast, and then we'll look at the 7-day. And you might be delighted to see some of those temperatures. So here's Bengals game day forecast. 1 o'clock, Paycor Stadium, kickoff, 82 degrees, sunshine, breezy conditions throughout the game. So Evan McPherson better be in his A game, especially against an opponent like the Baltimore Ravens, big AFC North matchup. And then during the game, again, those mid-80s, abundant sunshine. So, again, dress for summer, but expect those winds to really kick up. And with that, let's look at your 7-day forecast. Again, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to chime in on the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as on my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. So here's that 7-day. We've got a high temperature up to 85 degrees for your Sunday. Then Monday, we've got a little bit milder air. Morning low of 48 and afternoon high of 67. And then Tuesday morning down to 43. It's a bit chilly for your Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon up to 69. Wednesday 70. And we go into Thursday 72. Mid-70s for your Friday. And then by next Saturday, up to 78 degrees. And that's going to be pretty warm, especially for this time of the year. So that is your First Alert 7-day forecast. And at this point, let's take a look at some of those comments and questions on Facebook. Darla, good timing. Says, good evening, Ethan. I read there was another hurricane heading towards Florida. Have you seen or heard anything? If you do you think we'll get any rain? In Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana? No rain from us, from this tropical system. I did show the tropical storm Milton track. I'll show that again here in a moment. I want to go beyond the 7-day forecast real quick, and then we'll go back to Milton. But yes, Darla, there is a potential hurricane heading towards Florida. Right now it's a tropical storm, but it is forecast to become a major hurricane and impact the Gulf Coast of Florida by the middle of next week. Karen says 43, not ready for that. Yeah. So the forecast is we're going to fall into a pattern of warm days and cool nights. And you'll see that in the beyond the 7-day forecast here in just a moment. No comments on my Facebook page. So let's go ahead and go back to this. And again, cool nights, mild days. And by next Saturday, morning low of 50, afternoon high of 78. Now let's go beyond the 7-day forecast. We do have chances of rain and even thunderstorms. So there's a lot of uncertainty still with this, but there is a system moving in. The amount of rain, the timing of the rain, will there be anything strong? I cannot answer that right now. There's a lot of unknowns with this. In fact, some models are even drying us out. But with a temperature change like this abruptly, I think there'll be something. But at least it'll be breezy, and that chance is there. And once this system passes through, it will bring us some cooler conditions. Cooler, relatively speaking, mind you. Mid-60s for highs for Monday, October 14th, Tuesday, October 15th, and then morning lows into those mid-40s. We go into October 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. Highs will be in the upper 60s and low 70s. Morning lows in the mid to upper 40s. And we're going to be kind of stuck, I believe, in this pattern here, looking mainly dry towards the end of October. Keep an eye out. Now, granted, this is almost a month out, 3 weeks out at least. I would say keep an eye out that week surrounding Halloween. The very end of October, there are indicators of some much cooler air moving to the Ohio Valley. And I'm not talking about average highs, but I'm talking about a system that could bring in some much cooler conditions and even some precipitation chances. But that far out, there's very little information I can really give you as to how cold, what kind of precipitation, what kind of this or that. That's that far out. There's a lot of things you got to look at to consider, and there's a lot of changes in the data. But I do see a couple of models that are showing between October 25th and November 1st the odds of seeing much cooler conditions. dare I say, highs in the low 60s, even upper 50s, moving in by that point. So that's what we're looking at beyond the 7-day forecast. Again, that far out, a lot's going to change as we get closer. We'll let you know, as we are the only Cincinnati station to let you see that first alert 14-day forecast. Speaking of which, here it is on your 7-day plus. So highs are going to be falling below normal heading into the work week, back above normal by next weekend, falling below normal as we head into early the following week, and then we're kind of hovering around near normal. So we've kind of in this pattern where we dip a little bit, we bounce up, dip a little bit. So we're not looking at anything outrageous aside from tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be very, very warm, but after tomorrow, I don't foresee 85 in the 14-day forecast, which is nice. So that is your 14-day forecast. Now let's get back to Milton. This is something that we're going to need to really watch, keep an eye on. Again, I don't have all the specifics in terms of forecast rain, winds, storm surge, stuff like that. I don't have that yet developed in the graphics. A lot of work behind the scenes here at Fox 19. We do a lot more than just sit and talk in front of a TV or a camera on Facebook or YouTube or however you're watching us. But we have a lot of work to do, and I need to develop some graphics. And tonight at 10 o'clock, programming note, 19.3 or digital platforms. We're not going to be on Fox 19 or 19.1 on the air. There's going to be a game. I don't know what game exactly, but there will be a sports game on at that point. But behind me is the latest from the National Hurricane Center of Tropical Storm Milton. And it does have a forecast of becoming a major hurricane going into Tuesday of potentially a Category 3. And it looks to maintain that status by Wednesday at noon and could bring, again, winds of 115 miles per hour, according to the National Hurricane Center. So this system here, and in fact, I want to say we've talked about this system for the last couple of weeks because there were indicators. Now it had slowed down, it had weakened, now it's beginning to gain strength again. But that being said, it's not going to influence our weather here in the tri-state. It's not going to bring us rain. It's not going to bring North Carolina rain. Okay? Stay with me. This will bring rain, though, in Florida and in the Gulf, potentially towards Cuba and Cancun. Maybe some rain around southern South Carolina, southern Georgia. But right now, we will focus on the impact it's going to bring to the coast, the Gulf Coast, that is, of Florida. And this is the latest from Milton. So again, not going to impact us. It's not going to be a Helene 2.0. If you hear anybody say that, that's garbage. It's not true. It's false. This is true. This is the forecast from the folks at the National Hurricane Center. They do a tremendous job of forecasting tropical systems days, even weeks in advance. And it's, this is another situation where we need to keep a very close eye on folks in Florida because the way tropical systems have developed this year, a lot of moisture associated with them. So hopefully that answers your question, Darla. Okay. At this point, I want to look one more time on Facebook comments and questions, and then we are going to go ahead and close things off. No comments or questions on my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. So again, we are not going to be on Fox 19 tonight at 10 o'clock. We're going to be on, when I say Fox 19, I mean 19.1. You can find us on 19.3 if you watch us via air or cable, 19.3, or any digital platform. So fox19.com, the Fox 19 News app. If you watch us on Roku or YouTube TV, as long as it's not 19.1. But you can watch us in a multi-faceted of ways. So we'll be on then at 10 o'clock, but we will not be on 19.1. Really want to drive that point home. But that is your First Alert 19 at 6 weekend weather show. And we've got a lot to discuss with the rain chances tomorrow, the gusty winds tomorrow, the warm air tomorrow, the northern lights potentially tonight. And again, the tonight chance is going to be between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. The chances aren't significant, but they are there. Better than yesterday, although yesterday really did fall apart towards the last hour. But tonight, the KP index is going to be between 6 and 7. At least a 7 is good to be able to see that if you're in a rural area looking north. So something we'll be talking about as well tonight at 10 o'clock on Fox 19. If there's any updates, I'll let you know on my Facebook page at EthanEmeryWX, as well as on my X account at EthanEmeryWX. But that being said, we've got cooler weather for next week, but tomorrow, a pretty warm day with highs in the mid-80s and gusty winds and a chance of showers and storms for areas east of I-71. So, thank you all so much for joining us here on this Saturday edition of 19 at 6, our First Alert weekend weather show. And we'll see you at 10 o'clock tonight on 19.3 and on our digital platforms.